Morning, welcome to Real Talks Dominate Real Estate. It's March 26, 2021, and I'm Charlie Bengel.
And I'm Eyerusalem Meaza. Grab a cup of coffee. Let's make your real estate career better.
Last show of the first quarter. Time flies. What's in the news today, Eyerusalem?
Real estate professionals are increasingly turning to virtual staging technology to present their listings in the best light since the pandemic has limited in-person contact. The technology offerings have been growing, including features such as retouching and enhancing property pictures, computer-generated image rendering, virtual tours, and staging. Box Brownie, an international imaging marketing technology firm, reports a 70% increase in virtual staging jobs and a 175% increase in customer signups over recent months. In capitalizing on the increasing interest and making a bigger push to the industry, Box Brownie also announced its lowest prices for virtual staging services and cutting prices between 25% and even up to 200% prior to the pandemic. Pricing for its virtual staging now range between $24 to $48. The company touts fast and affordable turnover of property images to real estate professionals. Due to the higher demanded services, Box Brownie has been expanding its offerings, which now includes residential virtual staging, commercial virtual staging, 360 residential virtual staging, and 360 commercial virtual staging. Virtual staging offers contact-free services and quicker turnarounds, which can be a perk in a hectic housing market, but it can also be controversial when spaces in a home are staged with virtual furniture. Pictures that are marked as being virtually staged can lead to disappointment if a buyer arrives to the property and sees an empty room. Still, virtual staging can show the possibilities of properties. In other news, between rising home prices and shortages of homes for sale, the market has been difficult for buyers, with those trying to buy for the first time particularly feeling the effects. A don't give up mindset may be key for first-time home buyers. 43% of more than 800 prospective home buyers recently surveyed by Realtor.com say they've been searching for a home in more than a year. 1/3 of respondents say they've been in the market searching for a home between 6 and 12 months. With housing inventories at all-time lows and list prices rising rapidly, first-time home buyers are finding it challenging to close on a home. 34% of respondents said that they are unable to find a home within their budget. Still, first-time buyers comprised 31% of existing home sales in February, down only slightly from 32% a year earlier, according to the National Association of Realtors' latest existing home sales report. Top reasons first-time home buyers want to buy: I want to be a homeowner at 59%. I want to live in a space that I can invest in improving at 33%, and the need for more space at 31%. And I want to build equity at 22%. What factors are delaying home purchases? Not enough money for a down payment, 44%, and unable to find a home within their budget, which is 34%. Top factors in a home search: location, 38%, quiet location, 33%, large backyard, 32%, garage, 29%. Also, 43% indicated they wanted a move-in ready home, while only 11% said that they were willing to purchase a fixer-upper. In related news, new homes remain in high demand among home shoppers, but sales are starting to fall as buyers slow down inventory. Persistent delays from supply shortages, rising material costs, and labor shortages continue to press on the home buying industry as builders frantically try to meet the surging demand for new homes since the pandemic. Sales of newly built single-family homes in February plunged 18.2% month over month to a 775,000 seasonally adjusted annual rate, the Commerce Department reported Tuesday. This marks the lowest level for new home sales since last May. Homes available for sale that have not started construction surged 67% over the last year. That is an indicator of increasing delays and higher costs associated with construction, the NAHB notes. New home prices also continue to rise due to material costs, notably from increases in lumber prices. The median sales price for a newly built home was $349,400 in February, a 5.3% increase compared to a year ago. Charlie, what's going on with rates?
Thanks, Eyerusalem. We've got the 30-year fixed rate at 3%. The jumbo is just a little bit higher at 3.25%. FHA and VA are at 2.75%. These are purchase rates brought to us by PNC Mortgage in the Washington metropolitan market. Back over to you to discuss today's market.
In the last week in Hampton Roads, we saw 780 new listings hit the market, 815 properties go pending, and 663 properties sold. In the last week in the Washington metro area, within 30 miles of the White House, we saw 1,283 new listings hit the market, 2,023 go pending, and 1,108 homes sold. Back over to Charlie with our special guest.
Thanks, Jerusalem. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the show Coach Amy Lassen. Amy, always good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So a couple things before we get into our topic of the day of hiring an assistant. One, I watched the closing session of the ReMax R4 convention yesterday, and they had the box brownie guy on. And what they're able to do is they can now take an architectural drawing and stage it. They like build the house virtually. They put furniture in it. My mind was blown. So
Wow.
like if you just have a floor plan or you're working with a builder, they can virtually build the house and then stage it. And then you have a virtual tour of the house. It was really quite impressive. And then I knew that they could like declutter, but he had like examples of the renter that doesn't pick up after themselves, right? And what the picture looked like. And then when they decluttered, right, they cleared off the kitchen cabinet. They picked up the laundry in the bedroom. Now, you see that online, and then you get to the house and you still find the cluttered kitchen and the laundry in the bedroom. There is a letdown, like Eyerusalem said, but I thought that was really interesting. And something that I didn't think got enough press is ReMax will now offer through a third party health insurance for agents. Health insurance for agents. So and the prices are online. I think it's about what you would get from an employer. You have kind of the higher deductibles and copays like would be expected. But it's not like you have to apply and maybe they deny you or, I just put the link up, remaxhealthbenefits.com. But everything's kind of there and they make it sound like it's easy and the prices were not out of whack from what I expected. So that's something that I think we all need to be talking up because this is such a problem for so many, for so many people.
Yep.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting stuff coming from the ReMax R4 event. Talk to me about hiring an assistant. Yeah, go ahead.
But should we also talk about other, like, what's in the news, like what's happening? I have the good fortune to be in a weekly mastermind at my brokerage, and Charlie, we meet twice a week, and we'll say, "Oh my goodness, guess what happened?" And we'll start telling each other about the market as though it were news, because it is. It's been 3 days since we last talked. And we have crazy updates to offer each other. It's like in 3 days, something so dramatic has happened. Or someone else will say, well, I took a listing over the weekend and here's what happened. The rest of us are going, what? What? And so we're in it. We're right here. The pace of change in my market is jarring. Yesterday, I had an agent text me outside my mastermind, and he said, oh, by the way, such and such builder in our market is now requiring buyers to bid on their specs.
I've heard of that happening now.
No longer set.
It's happening in Florida too, in Tampa, I think. Yep.
Yeah. Times we are living in.
Well, and the builders don't want to build now because the price of lumber keeps going up and their costs keep going up, yet there's a demand. The whole thing is just very, very strange. And now they're starting to cut commissions to agents as well, which is to be expected. This happens in every good, in every good market. At the end of every good market, I feel like everybody hates, all realtors hate the builders. Then the market turns and the builders are begging the agents to bring their clients, right?
Sure. Well,
with bonuses and, for every, house that you sell above one, then you get, an extra 1%. And, it's just the pendulum has definitely swung to, we don't really need the agents right now.
Sure. I get that. But it is challenging times. So all of you working in new construction, look at all your options. Things are changing quickly. One of the horror stories in the mastermind this week was one of the agents in my office put somebody under contract with the builder in August. The way our builders tend to write their contracts, the closing date is not set, and there's really nothing punitive against the builder if they don't close on time because it's approximate. And that is really the clause that is letting the builder take really, really rough advantage of this buyer. So what's happened is they've stopped building it. And nothing has happened. It's been months. It just sits there at the frame stage, and they're not working on it. And now he's lost his rate lock, and he's paying $30 a day to the lender. And they
he's probably given the builder a significant deposit too. Yes?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were talking, okay, does he hire an attorney? What should they do? Well, the contract says they don't have to finish it in any particular amount of time. And think about it. They gave him a certain price, which is now gallingly low, right?
Yep.
That was their agreement. They said, this is what the house is worth. And now I don't think they can build it for that. And they don't have the materials.
Right.
So I get it. But it was a mistake. It was a mistake made on the builder's part. And they're taking it out on the buyer, and it's sad.
Yeah, that's ugly. Some contracts give the builder up to 2 years, but they'd want to scramble and try to get it done because the prices keep, the costs of building keep going up. So it's tricky to be a builder, but they should have been smarter about all of that. I mean, we've known about this problem for a while, especially with lumber going up. That's not like a news flash. That's been a good year plus, right?
It was a mistake, and I think trying to correct it by scaring the buyer away. Like, maybe if we just make it miserable enough, he'll give up and just terminate. I don't think he will, given the price that he has locked in. Right. I think he's going to keep paying his $30 a day and hold on.
Yeah, boy, that's crazy.
So hiring an assistant.
So how do I know when it's time?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Because Charlie, I think there's a simple answer to that, but I think there are more nuanced answers. I think the simplest answer is if you are dropping balls, if you are failing to convert because you don't have time, if you're messing up current transactions because you have no time, or you're failing to call people back and they're ending up using someone else to list or buy because you didn't have the time, there's your sign, right? But I think the more nuanced answer is, depending on the vision that you have for your business, a more deliberate way of hiring would be to pace it out and say, when I hit X production, I will proactively hire. Because when agents wait until things are so bad, my managing broker used to say, when the leads are falling off the end of the desk into the trash can and you don't notice. So when you let it get that bad, you're also too busy to take the hot time to hire.
Right.
And then you're going to say, oh, forget it, I'll just do it myself.
Yep.
So I think the more deliberate and more measured way to do it is to say, at X production, I will feel comfortable hiring, or when I have X amount saved, salaries in the bank, whatever. So then you can just do it, because this, Charlie, have my back. Agents will say, I'm too busy to hire. Like I can't do it without help, but I don't have time to hire.
Yes.
And then what happens is they don't do their lead gen. They hurry and sprint through all their under contracts, and they finally come to settlement, and they finally catch their breath. They're like, oh, I can breathe now. And the coach says, all right, great. Now it's time to hire. And they're like, I don't need to hire. I'm not busy now.
Right.
That's the mistaken thinking. So when you say at X level of production, I absolutely have to have help in order to function, I think that's the answer.
Yeah, I like that. Where do you feel like that is? Is there a formula of the number of deals that somebody's closing that they need? Maybe we should be defining an assistant, right? And recently, I guess fairly recently, we've had, there's been some, I want to say in the last few years, we have opportunities to do a stopgap between where I am today, solo, no help, and a full-time assistant, right? You can lean on showing agents before you hire the buyer's agent. You can do the Transactly or somebody else doing transaction management on one-offs as needed. Yeah. So you're not paying for somebody in the wintertime if maybe you don't need them. So you're like, but there's still a point where how many deals can somebody do realistically without being burned out or overwhelmed? What do you think that number is on, let's say, an annual basis?
That's a great question. And again, I think it depends, but you made a super good point, and I want to reiterate it. If all of you listening have not checked to see if you have professional transaction coordination services available in your market, please do. And I want to clarify because I'm amazed at how many people don't know about this and then they mishear me. So there are professional TCs. This is what they do for a living. You won't train them on your processes. You couldn't if you wanted to. They won't let you.
Right.
They have a service they provide. You will not dictate to them what they do. No, they won't write your contracts for you, and they won't pick up your signs and lockboxes. They will do contract to close. Some of them will even do active listing, and that's an additional fee, but it depends. So look for professional transaction coordination services. These people work for multiple agents. They run their own business. They will do it on a per file basis. That one is a game changer.
Yeah.
Haven't tried it? You're about to get excited.
Yeah, that we really didn't have that 5 years ago. I don't think it's fairly new. And again, the beauty of it is, and by the way, you're not obligating yourself to send them every single deal either, right? So you could use them spring and fall, and then when things are slower in summer, winter, perhaps you're not using them if that's what you want to do. But to your point, I think it was a Transactly that says it's 11, 12 hours of admin work, 14 hours of admin work per deal. I mean, it is a huge number. And when you and I talk to a lot of people that struggle with doing their hour of power, and it's like, well, if you weren't pushing paper, you would have had time to do the hour of power. Yeah, so,
absolutely. And they charge depending on the market, between $300 and $500 per file, and it's worth every penny. So that's one thing. But you asked how many transactions, and I want to answer a different question first, and that is really, what can an assistant be doing for you? What would an assistant do anyway if you hired one? And this happens a lot, that I have people come to the point of pain of, I think I need help, but wait. What could they do anyway that I can't do? I do it best, and I hear it all. And so I came up with this for one control freak that I coached. I said, here's the thing. There are 492 tasks. And of course I made up the number. It's probably 90,000, but there are 492 tasks that every agent has to accomplish. And the truth is, only 11 of them are you the only one who can do it. And I made up that number too, except that we did it together. Write the contract, and that one's debatable, right?
Yes.
Show up and do the listing appointment in person or on Zoom. There are certain things, and it was really 10, but I had one control freak who insists on hand calligraphing her envelope, so she got 11. So know that there's probably 10 things that really you, the licensed agent team leader, can only do, and no one else. You can't delegate those things.
Right.
But everything else could probably be delegated, and I do that as a mindset shift. So then we outline all the sorts of things that an assistant could do, and then we start to get creative. And then eventually I want people to recognize that admin type duties, paper control, calling people back, organizing is one brain type, and marketing is a different brain type. And rarely will you get some sort of a video editor, HTML expert, client care specialist, events planner all in one. That's super rare, and I wouldn't shoot for that. So back to, at what production level does this make sense? I think, Charlie, sometimes you have to think about your income, because I have a coaching client who makes $40,000 each sale. Like, that's her average commission. How soon is she going to need an assistant? Well, it depends, but she might be able to buy some sanity by hiring, even if she's only closing one deal a month, just because she can afford it. Right. And assistants tend to be better at their jobs than us, because they have more organized brains. So I think it depends. Some people really don't function well at 2 transactions a month. It's overwhelming to them because they're not tech savvy, right? You and I both coach people. It's like organizing, syncing their calendar to their phone is a challenge. So what would you say? Because I think 2 to 3 a month, it's okay. You could hire.
I'm thinking, and it's market specific.
It is market specific.
But I mean, if you're closing 18 deals in Northern Virginia, right, you're making pretty good money. You're at like 250. Okay. There's no reason not to at least have a transaction coordinator at that point.
No,
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a no-brainer. And I guess, and what's challenging about 18, 24, 36 or whatever, you've got some months where it's 1, and then the other months where it's 6, and you're so overwhelmed. And we know that for the months that are 4, 5, and 6, you're not prospecting. You're not. You don't have time. It's impossible. So I think it is market specific. I've got a client in a very rural area where his price point is like 200, 185, right? And Transactly for him is a big chunk of his income, right? He would be better off hiring somebody else almost part-time or full-time because he can get them cheaper on the per hour basis, basically. But he does it all himself. He's going to do 50 to 60 deals this year, and I'm wrestling with him to get some help. They're all buyers, by the way. They're all buyers. He does all his own contracts, all his own contract to close. I mean, this has been an ongoing topic for 9 months, right?
So that wow, he definitely just hire locally, like whatever the going rate is in his market, and pay.
But he doesn't, Amy. He doesn't have time to hire anyone.
Oh, that's exactly right. Yep, I get that. I get that. So I thought of something else when you said if you're closing 18, you're making 250 GCI. So here's another way to reverse engineer when should I hire? Because what you have to keep in mind is highest and best use of your time as a licensed agent is not doing assistant duties. And I don't want to condescend in any way and say that their time is less valuable, but like dollar productive activities are appointments. So the more appointments you go on, you know, your hourly rate sitting at a kitchen table, we should calculate that one, Charlie. The truth is, like, if you average out an agent's income, a healthy agent's income across a year, you may be making $200 an hour. That time and appointments is definitely going to be higher. But so $200 an hour, anytime you fuss over a flyer and try to get the header just right or change the font or whatever, that's $25 an hour work, and you're worth $200. So you're paying your rather incompetent assistant, $200 an hour to not do a very good job. So that's one thing I would say. That person only closing 18 deals a year who feels like they can handle it and don't need help, and they're making 250. It's like, well, where do you want to stay there? Because I have a friend who does. Like, that's her sweet spot, and she doesn't want to grow, and she likes what she's got, and it totally works for her. And she works like 20 hours a week. I'm not going to badger her about hiring. It works for her. But if you wanted to grow beyond that 250, some coaches and trainers say that 10% of gross is appropriate. No, that's marketing. 15% of gross is appropriate for hiring. So at the 250 mark, what is that? 21? I can't do the math fast enough. So that's the low
38, 20. Right? Ish.
Really? Why can I not do that? Oh, you're right.
37 and a half.
Crap. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So 38, that's low. I mean, depending on your market for a salary, but that's pretty healthy for a start.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so to think about, to justify, and so you take that with you, that 15%, if you were making $300,000 a year, that's a $45,000 salary would be appropriate as a percentage cost. And here's what happens. You're buying an entire year of another person's working life. What would you be capable of if you had an entire other set of hands full time?
Well, 50 weeks of 40 hours is 2,000 hours, right? I believe.
It's crazy.
That's a lot. That's a ton of time. And you can find somebody in virtually any market except maybe LA and New York at that price range that's going to be pretty darn good. Is it going to be, an executive assistant, 80 grand a year, like coming from a law firm? No. But, you can find, that all-in-one coordinator, right?
Sure.
Can do the transaction coordination, can help wrangle the marketing, and
well, and don't be a cheapskate. Like if you're in a market, if your average commission is $40,000,
well, of course, right?
I mean, pay the living wage in your market. It's worth it,
right?
When at the time my little sister quit her job as a real estate assistant, she was making more than $100,000 a year, and they begged her to accept a raise, and she wouldn't. So, great assistants are definitely worth a living wage. So don't be cheap about it. But I think that 15% can help you. And if you were making 2 million GCI, that 15% is not for a person, right? That's for staffing. That could cover a number of things. So I think. You said it's not that hard to find people, and I disagree. I would love for you to tell me how, and then maybe my people want to be coached by you, because
no. I think what I was saying was you can find good help
Yeah.
for that wage. I'm
Sure.
not saying finding the good help is easy. People don't want to go through the steps of finding good help.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a slog.
Sure.
And when people are busy, they don't want to do the steps. It's like, I had somebody get on a coaching call one time and they're like, I scheduled 12 interviews with 12 different people. I'm just like, well, could we have narrowed the funnel a little bit so you're not having to talk to 12 people, right? So if you go to dominaterealestate.net and click on hiring, we have a step-by-step hiring guide. We've got some stuff on the DISC profile, and that could probably be updated to, I know that there's some teams that when they go through this process, which we can get to in a minute, including having that person send a video of why they want the job. So then you can see how they present themselves. Can they speak? Are they articulate, right? Can they use a phone camera? Kind of the stupid little stuff. And again, we're trying to narrow the funnel because it's not uncommon. When we run an ad for an admin, we get a couple hundred applicants.
Sure.
And the woman that does the hiring here or starts the process, she can't talk to 200 people.
No.
So we have a job application that has unique questions on it. If you were if there was going to be a song that would play when you walk out on stage, what would that song be? On a scale of 1 to 10, how lucky do you consider yourself to be? If somebody puts a 1, they're going to be a Debbie Downer and we don't want to talk to them.
Sure.
True story. If you could have dinner with anybody, living or dead, who would it be? Somebody wrote Hitler. Now, maybe that somebody is a history buff. This is a true story. This happened on a ReMax Allegiance job application. We chose not to continue the process with that person. We were not interested in digging in whether this person was a history buff or a white supremacist or whatever, right? So so we're narrowing the funnel by using things like a job application.
Yeah.
Right. So, and the staff is like, they just can't believe it. That is a true story. So, and if somebody leaves all of those unique questions blank, we don't talk to them. We move on.
Sure.
So, it's narrowing the funnel. And I'm jumping ahead. We need to be writing a compelling ad. First, it starts with a job description, right? Wise Hire is really quite good. WIZEHIRE.com. Even if you choose not to use them to place the ad, their job descriptions are money, right? And they've expanded way beyond real estate, but their real estate job descriptions are perfect. And if you're doing like a coordinator or all-in role, you just steal from the different job descriptions and make up your own. So I think it's the need, the budget, the job description, the placing of the ad, but you've also got to be committed. And I know I'm jumping around and I know you're going to get me back on track, which is why I'm not too worried about it. You have to be committed to training that person, because if you're the artist and you're the all over the place agent and you hire an analytical and they're lost, they're going to quit. Right. They need the direction and the training. And if you honestly are not committed to doing that, then now's not the moment to be hiring that person. I mean, that's, go with Transactly until things slow down in the summer or in late fall, early winter, because these people they not only need direction, they want it, right? A good assistant wants to be able to assist. And if you're not giving them the tools and the direction, they're going to get frustrated. I was in a position, a lot of people don't know this, but I worked in a church right after college. I needed a job because I was going to the police academy at night. And I wanted to work 9 to 5 and go to the police academy from 6 to 10 at night, right? And First Baptist Church of Tallahassee was hiring. And you had to there was no internet, right? I was looking at the classified ads. This is 1998, right? And I got a job. And one of the bosses that I had to work with was all over the place. And she would procrastinate.
Sure.
And it was like Friday afternoon. And she'd come into my office with all this stuff to do. I had to leave at 5. The police academy was like a 30-minute drive. I ate my little microwave meal I got for dinner, right? I got in the car, went to the police academy. I could not be late. It was the police academy. You weren't allowed to be late, right? So I was like on like Tuesday morning, I'd be like, I don't want to use her name. What do we have going on this week? Like every day, what do we have going on this week? What can I help you with, right? It was so stressful to me, right? Working for this person. And you don't want to hire me and treat me the same way, because I will quit. right? That's the problem. So anyway, we're over time. I went down a tangent like I always do, but
how much time do you want to spend wrapping up?
well, I'll let you wrap up in about 1 minute.
Okay. So Charlie's absolutely right. You have to be prepared to train this person. And I'm going to reemphasize that because I think a lot of agents, the barrier to entry is low getting your license. It's not that hard to get a license. And so people who become realtors, they don't know how to do real estate. They also don't know how to run a business, most of them.
Right.
And so when it comes to hiring, I think it's time to just acknowledge that you've never done this before and it's important and it needs to be learned. Like, would you have ever been kind of a brat about, hey, I didn't know they'd make me write contracts. I already passed my license. Why do I have to learn other things? You have to learn other things to run a business. You're going to have to learn the skill of hiring and managing. Sure. It is necessary. And so please just know that going in and don't be a crybaby about it. Are you exhausted already? Are the buyers running your legs off? Like, I can't change reality for you. You have to know how to hire this person, and you might make mistakes the first or second time. It's worth your effort. So you've really, really got to put that in. Do not ever interview somebody that did not disc out the way you need them to. And that is a high S, high C. It happens so many times, Charlie, and I swear I've been direct. I swear I've been clear. And my coaching clients will tell me, so-and-so is not working out. Let me describe their behavior. And I'll say, whoa, what was their disc? Oh, I didn't bother with that because they were experienced, previous experience. Disc, everyone. Do not interview people who do not meet the high S, high C, which is sort of stable, reliable, patient, organized. Right. Those are the traits we're looking for. I'm glad that Dominate Real Estate has a hiring guide since we didn't have time to dig into the nitty gritty of the rest of it. But set aside the time, do what you have to, hire as much temporary help as you need to relieve the pressure so that you can invest in this. It's absolutely vital. And I will tell you, a year from now, you will thank us. It's a journey, but you will get on the other side of it and your life will be better. Nobody has ever said, I am so tired of having an assistant. I'm going back to doing it by myself. No one has ever said that.
And in fact, we work at a major coaching organization, and a lot of the clients there say their business turned, their business grew when they hired that first help. Right? When they hired that first assistant.
Unless you make the wrong hire or you don't guide them. It will. So don't see it as an expense. That's the other thing. When I ask you to justify 15% of gross in your mind, don't say, well, that's money I'll never get back. This person will more than pay for themselves. That's the nature of it. And if they don't, you hired the wrong person or you didn't guide them.
Right. I like it. Amy, always good to see you. Have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Back over to Eyerusalem.
Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful weekend.
Take care, everybody.